Guys, it's Fonzie here with Dip Your Car, and normally I would never make a response video like this. You're always going to see positive things on the internet, and you're always going to run across negative things on the internet, and rarely is it ever worth the time or effort to respond to something negative you see on the internet or on YouTube. But there's been a video that's been sent to me well over a dozen times in the past couple weeks, and people continuously ask me to make a response to this video. There's a video a guy made trying to compare the process of plasti dipping a wheel versus vinyl wrapping a wheel. And what people are asking me to do is to make a video combating that video with me showing the process of plasti dipping a wheel and vinyl wrapping a wheel to kind of combat it. And I'm simply not going to do that. It's not necessary. But what I'd like to do is have a little fun and work through that guy's video and show you what went wrong. Because I'm not here to bash the guy, I'm not here to be aggressive or attack him, but there are so many inconsistencies and inaccuracies in that video that don't make it a fair and unbiased comparison. Now, right off the bat, the video is made by a guy who runs a vinyl wrapping company. So you already know which direction this is going to go in. Now, we have never compared dip and vinyl on the Dip Your Car channel for this specific reason, because we don't want to have an unbiased comparison. We don't want to mislead people. The only times I've ever mentioned vinyl wrap on the Dip Your Car channel or social media is in a positive light. I've always said that vinyl wrapping is an excellent option. There are things you can do with vinyl wrap that you can't do with dip, and there are things that you can do with dip that you can't do with vinyl wrap. But vinyl wrap is an awesome option for anyone. If that's the route you want to go, no pushback from me. You'll never see me bashing vinyl wrap or trying to make a comparison and persuade you guys that one direction is better than the other. They're very different, and there's more than enough room for both in the marketplace. So let's step through a couple of the things that this guy did in the video that, in my opinion, are not accurate and are misleading. Now, again, he's trying to show the comparison between dipping a wheel and vinyl wrapping a wheel. Now, the main theme of the video is how long it takes to plasti dip a wheel versus vinyl wrapping a wheel. That seems to be the main gripe here, is how long it takes to plasti dip. Now, there's he touches on finish and some other things, and we'll touch on that in a second, but just focusing on this time aspect. So he starts plasti dipping a wheel, and he goes into it, he does prep work, and then he starts dipping it and gets into the coats, and he seems frustrated on how long this is taking. And then he goes over and starts to vinyl wrap a wheel. Now, per his math, he spends about 10 minutes prepping the wheel. Now, right off the bat, that's just simply inaccurate. Now, back in the day, you may have had people that are taping around the outside of the tire. That doesn't happen anymore. With dip release, which is what you put on the outside of the tire, it takes less than 1 minute per tire to prep your tire. So right off the bat, you're talking about 5 minutes to prep your tires maximum, versus what he was showing about 10 minutes per tire. Then you're talking about cleaning the wheel, and cleaning the wheel for dip and cleaning the wheel for vinyl are both the same, so those cross each other out. And now you start getting into the spraying portion. Now, again, his main complaint here is how long this takes, but let me give you some realistic math so you can get a more fair and genuine comparison. When you're spraying the face of a wheel, it takes about 1 minute per coat per wheel. Now, one of the things he fails to mention in the video is that even though he's only working on one wheel at a time, when you're plasti dipping one wheel, vinyl wrapping one wheel, when you're dipping wheels, you spray one wheel, then you move on and spray the next wheel, then you move on and spray the next wheel, then you move on and spray the fourth wheel, and usually, depending on your temperature, by the time you're done spraying the fourth wheel, the first wheel is about dry and you can continue the process. So let's do some realistic math here. It's about 1 minute per coat per wheel. Let's round that up to just 5 minutes per coat on all four wheels. Then for an average dry time, you've got about 20 minutes for each coat to dry. So let's just say 25 minutes per coat when you're dipping. Now, he said about 5 coats is necessary when dipping a wheel. I'm going to take that up a notch because I personally recommend 6. 25 minutes per coat times 6 coats is about 150 minutes total to get 6 coats of black on your wheels. Now, per his video, he said it took him about 45 minutes to vinyl wrap the face of one wheel. Now, let's back that out a little bit because it did take some time to go back and forth and dip a little bit during that time. So let's just go down to 35 minutes to vinyl wrap the face of one wheel. So you vinyl wrap the face of one wheel, you do it 4 times, you're looking at 120 minutes. So all in all, realistically, on just that platform, there's about a half-hour difference between plasti dipping a set of wheels and vinyl wrapping the face of 4 wheels. Half-hour difference. If that's going to make or break it for you, more power to you. That's fine. Let's move on to the finish, because he was definitely not shy about showing a close-up of the finish that he got with his Plasti Dip wheels. Now, there's a major problem right off the bat here. If you've ever watched a Dip Your Car video where we're dipping wheels, you have never seen us dip a wheel where the wheel is flat on the ground. Now, there's a reason for that. Aerosol cans, specifically Plasti Dip ones, are not designed to be held horizontally or spray downward towards a wheel. They're meant and designed to spray forward. That's why every single Dip Your Car video you've ever seen us do, the wheel is at a 45-degree angle or completely vertical. So with him spraying the wheel completely flat, if you've ever seen our Dip Your Car videos before, if you know anything about dipping, you know he's doing it wrong right off the bat, and you know that makes a massive difference in the end result. Now again, I'm not bashing him, I'm trying to help him here. The next time he does a comparison video and tries to make it a little bit more fair and unbiased, stand that wheel up and do it properly. This would be just the same as me trying to compare Plasti Dip and trying to compare vinyl wrap. And when I'm vinyl wrapping a wheel, I don't use a heat gun and I use a dull blade. If I don't use a heat gun and I use a dull blade when I'm vinyl wrapping the face of this wheel, I'm not doing it properly, and I guarantee you it's going to make a very big difference in the end result. So again, if you're going to compare finishes, don't mislead people by misusing the product and saying this is basically what you can expect or this is what I get every time I dip. Do it properly. Now, at the end of this, time and finish aside, there's one huge meatball here. He says in the beginning of the video that lots of wheels nowadays have contrast, where you're going to have black and silver or black and red. And the reason he says that is because he's only vinyl wrapping the top of the spokes. When he's dipping the wheel, he's dipping and spraying the top of the spokes and the sides and corners of the spokes. Essentially, the entire face of the wheel is one color. But he's only vinyl wrapping the top of the spokes. So this comparison is only relevant to you if you want to compare completely coloring the face of a wheel versus a two-tone wheel. Now, on his own video, Vivid Vinyls makes a comment and says that a con with vinyl is you're limited to the surface, and most of the time it will be a two-tone or dual-tone finish, and that if the channels or the inner wells are done, it can take up to 10 hours of work. That's a big difference. Be honest when you're doing this comparison. Be upfront with people. If you were going to do an apple-to-apple comparison and you were going to do black Plasti Dip on the face of one wheel and black, matte black or gloss black on the face of another wheel, including the insides and corners of the spokes, that would be a much more comparable video. That would be a much more fair and honest video because the end results are the same. I don't know how many people out there want a two-tone wheel. But at the end of the day, if someone's out there shopping and they come across this video and they're trying to understand which is a better route for me, it's not, again, an apple-to-apple comparison of what you did here. It's misleading, and that's the truth. Now, it's unfortunate that this video had to be done in the first place, because the only reason a video like this would be done in the fashion that he did it is if you're threatened by the product that you're comparing to. I know a lot of vinyl wrap shops, and I have a great relationship with them, and they would never make a video like this because they're not threatened by dip. Just like dipping companies like myself are not threatened by vinyl. There's more than enough room for everybody in the market. Videos like this simply don't need to happen. Now, if the guy wants to go back and make another comparison video, an accurate comparison video, where he's actually doing the correct amount of coats, spraying it correctly, showing the right finish on the wheel, and then wrapping the entire face of the wheel, including the inside of the spokes, including the corners and everything, I will have no problem with that. There's nothing wrong with accurately comparing one product versus another. But to do it in such a blatantly dishonest way, I'm sorry, I mean, there's something that has to be said there. So If you guys agree with me, don't agree with me, if you have any questions at all, please just pop them in the comment section below. I'll be more than happy to have a conversation with you guys. Hopefully he sees this and he educates himself a little bit more on the process. And if he wants to do a comparison video, does one that's a little bit more accurate, it's Fonzie. I'll see you guys in the next video.